Okay, YouTube, so this is part 2 video of my attempt to make cinnamon raisin bread for the first time ever. And as you can see, I have some results. There's 2 loaves and about half of one remaining of what I ended up making. So I did learn a few things about the recipe. The first off is I don't know why the recipe says to let it rise 6 hours. That is entirely unnecessary. I had a large mixing bowl. Um, that one right there that comes off of a food mixer. I had that about halfway full of dough. And when I started, let it rise in the oven, and within 2.5 hours it had completely topped that bowl and it started to mushroom top on me. So at that point I took it out, punched it down, kneaded it a little bit, had to add a little bit more flour to it. I did learn that I need to adjust the recipe slightly. I wasn't exactly precise in the amounts. Needed to add slightly more flour. Transferred it to these baking tins, separated into 3 loaves, and baked it out for exactly 30 minutes. Now, the loaf that's been cut was slightly larger than these two. The bread is a little crustier on top than I would like it, so I'm going to attempt to adjust the recipe slightly to compensate for that. I'm going to bring the baking temperature down from 425 to 400 on the next recipe, see what that does. And I used cooking oil to batter the loaves before putting them in the pan. I'm going to trade that out for melted butter or margarine and see what that does. Aside from that, I'm also going to recommend that you increase excuse me, getting sick today. Increase the cinnamon from 1 tablespoon to good 2 tablespoons to give it a little more kick. I think the sugar content is fine. Just needs a little bit more cinnamon. But as you can see, I've got some loaves of bread. Not bad for my first attempt making cinnamon raisin bread. Gonna modify the recipe, my technique slightly, and next weekend I will likely make a second attempt. So anybody wants to use his recipe, you might consider adjusting the recipe as follows. You don't need 6 hours worth of rise time. You just let it rise a good 2.5 hours. Now, his rise time may be due to temperature variance. He is in Canada after all. Right now, the temperatures in Canada ain't all that warm. I've got my heater running, or I had my heater running in here. The house was at about 80 degrees at the time of the rise, so that likely has something to do with it. But, I didn't need 6 hours. I got away with 2.5. Once I transferred it from the bowl to the pans, I allowed it to rise for an additional 30 minutes while I preheated the oven. So, there it is. I've got 3 successful first attempt loaves of cinnamon raisin bread, and I'm going to make another attempt probably next week. So if anybody wants to find this recipe to see him do it, since I don't have the means to record myself in making the recipe, I don't have a tripod and editing and all that, just go to RedNeckRickem on YouTube and you'll see the easy raisin bread recipe listed in his channel. Thanks for watching.